He is the now Liberal MP, Conservative MP who crossed the floor on the day of the catastrophic budget, which was worse than the budget that Freeland resigned instead of delivering. And he stood up in the House of Commons like 40 days ago and said, the Liberals' mismanagement of the economy is hurting my people and blah, 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 which is true, by the way, but not enough to stop him from crossing the floor because he didn't get the deputy speaker's position and went to a Conservative MP from Alberta.
Wow.
An actual Conservative MP, and it comes with a $52,000 a year top up. So his feelings got hurt, and he decided to betray his own voters, his volunteers, his donors, everybody who was subject to abuse because they dared vote for a Conservative. He called all kinds of names, his door knockers, people who took time away from their family to get this ingrate elected. Well, now he's out there saying that he didn't really run on the Conservative platform and he avoided being associated with Poilievre. This is what he's saying now.
You campaigned against the Liberals just 6 months ago, and now you might actually be key to handing them a majority government. How are you personally squaring those two things?
It's hard in a way.
Yeah,
I know what my positioning was during that election. You know, people will say, well, you know, I voted for you or the Conservatives or the platform or many different things. But I know that I did not really run on the Conservative platform. The platform that we had, did not address some of the things that we needed here. Fishing, of course, is always an important issue here. We tried to stay away from, pictures of the leader and all those things, because every single door or many of those doors that we went to, it was, Chris, I can't vote for you this time because I don't like Pierre Poilievre. So we had to try to adapt our campaign style to be able to try to put that to a side and try to ignore some of those facts. But there's a number of things that I can attach to within the platform that the Liberals put out. Many times with my opponent, Ronnie LeBlanc, we agreed on the majority of the things. He was agreeing with my stuff. I was agreeing with his stuff. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we need to be able to enact things that are right for our ridings. And I still think this is the best avenue for that.
Is it your intention to run as a Liberal in the next election, Chris d'Entremont?
I'm not sure at this point, because quite honestly, I've been around for a long time. It was a 17-year career as a provincial politician. We're on the third election now federally, which was probably one more than I had expected to do. But again, we're in minority situation. We have parties that continue to struggle on getting that majority going. So, I like I said, I'm 56. I need to spend some time at home, maybe. So, we'll talk that over with the family when the time comes, and just see what the political fortunes are. A week is a long time in politics in Canada.
Listen, thank you for making the time for us.
Well, Sheila, the only thing I agree with him in that interview is that he needs to spend more time at home. How about starting tomorrow and we'll trigger a by-election? A couple of thoughts, Sheila. I want to hear what you have to say. First of all, I think it's time now that anyone in the Conservatives who identifies themselves as a red Tory, there's the door. Thanks very much. That just means you're a closeted Liberal, because clearly that was the case with d'Entremont. Secondly, and I'm not being partisan here, I would say the same thing, and I've said the same thing when it's happened the other way. When an MP crosses the floor, you should not be able to join the other party. There's one of two things that should happen.
Yep.
One, you sit as an independent till the next election. Or two, a by-election is automatically triggered. So we have the people say this, I used to be a big fan of the parliamentary democracy system, Sheila. I'm becoming less of a fan and more of a fan of the U.S. republic system. But this was always a major thing that grinded my gears, that you could, run under the banner of Pepsi and then switch the next day to Coke. And also, it is clearly him not getting this speaking role. Sheila, I believe over the course of decades, over the course of years, people can change. You can change your viewpoints and opinions on issues. We're talking 6 months. He did a 180. And of all, not only is it the voters he betrayed, but think of all his staffers, his volunteers, Sheila, that spent endless number of kilometers walking around Nova Scotia, canvassing for him. Think of how they must feel after they see this. You mentioned Ron MacLean earlier. Detremont makes that guy look like Mother Teresa when it comes to the Rat Olympics, if you ask me.
I dug up a video of one of the people he betrayed. And I'm shocked that the source is the CBC. Must have pained them to do this, but it's one of his constituents who probably faced social isolation for being a conservative. Jeez. And this is what Detremont does.
CBC Halifax headed out to Chris D'Entremont's riding today to find out how his constituents felt about his defection to the Liberals.
It's upsetting. I supported Chris in the last election under Pierre Poilievre's leadership, as did my wife. So yeah, we were both kind of upset to see it happen, honestly.
I think he should have consulted with his constituents first. We tend to vote Conservative, and Chris is our local representative, so nice to have someone on that party in Nova Scotia.
CBC Halifax headed up.
Sheila, the most appalling mainstream media take I heard on this was last week when it happened, and it was John Moore of News Talk 1010, and he said that basically because this was such a horse race, it could have gone either way. Well, what's the big deal? It could have gone Liberal, so, don't get your knickers in a knot. Can you imagine that?
That means everybody worked extra hard to get Chris elected. Yeah. It's not like running a Conservative in Alberta where in like 99% of the ridings, you just show up. Yeah. You don't have to work all that hard. People sacrificed a lot of time to help this integrate, and he should resign. You can go to firechris.com, sign the petition. We're going to rough him up a little bit. We want to deploy some resources to his riding to give a voice to the people that he screwed over, like you heard right there. And also he's a liar.
Yeah.
So you can sign the petition. You can throw some money in there. We're going to, we want to have a billboard potentially. Remember what we did to Yara Sachs when we pamphleted her entire riding? We're going to do that to him.
You're reading my mind. We're going to give him the Yara Sachs treatment. And Sheila, we'll never know for certain, of course, but I really believe in my heart, in my mind, we cost Yara Sachs, Canada's number one self-hating Jew, that victory. Of every seat in the 416 went Liberal except York Centre. Yara Sachs lost, and I think it was our diligence in scrumming her, having her running away from us, having our beautiful Jumbotron equipped truck, showing her getting cuddly with Mahmoud Abbas, the terrorist who literally runs a pay-for-slay operation. And I think we turned the tide on that red tidal wave in the 416. One little victory, but we'll take it.
That's right. It should send a message, by the way, what we are planning for Chris D'Entremont. If any of you else get any ideas about betraying your constituents, just don't, because we'll come for you then too.